pleasurable for me because of the goalkeeper he beat on that day.
Oh my God! भाई that run up that he took to the free kick was, I don't know, cricket का 22 yards kind of run up था यार. भाई वो क्या था?
And imagine you have zero Botko, Juninho, Carlos, Ronaldinho, free kick कौन लेगा? थोड़ा formation change कर ले.
I knew this is coming. I knew this is coming. We, in association with Sporticos, are bringing you something very exciting this World Cup season. First of all, sporticos.com, that is a great website. Do check it out. The important factor is, आप लोग को अभी मिल रहा है एक मौका to win an absolutely free jersey आपके टीम का or any other team that you would want. It can be football or cricket. Along with that, you would get something extra as well, bonus, as well as a potential to win a second jersey और आपके टीम का training jacket. जो procedure है for you to subscribe, that has to be done with the link in the description below. पहला ही line in the description contains that link. Do click on that. Do check out the procedure. Pretty sure that is a great deal. So thanks for watching. Do watch till the end. Hello. Welcome back to Almighty Blues FC, a fan channel for all to see. और हाँ, वर्ल्ड कप तो आ ही रहा है पास में, लेकिन टॉकिंग अबाउट वर्ल्ड कप, भाई सबसे पहला कंट्री कौन सा आता है आपके मन में यार? With no disrespect to any other country, the reality is that we always talk about Brazil. और जब ब्राजील की बात होती है भाई, one name that comes to my mind is Sadiq Bhai. So Sadiq Bhai, first of all, welcome back to Almighty Blues FC. भाई, how much are you looking forward to this World Cup? Pretty sure after a long time feel आ रही है साउथ अमेरिकन टीम वाली, क्या लगता है?
हाँ, काफी मतलब ब्राजील तो है ही one of the favorites. Argentina is on this long unbeaten run. और पता है, when there is a South American flavor to the World Cup ना, तो एक अलग ही आपको वो रहता है. And especially if you have a good Brazil team, क्योंकि when Brazil is in flow ना, so the talent that Brazil has, it probably gives you not just beautiful football but some of the most enjoyable football.
और obviously हम course of time will be discussing कि how is the squad etc. लेकिन यार again जो लोग देखे नहीं अभी तक यार, this is a nostalgic series. और talking about nostalgia again, me and Sadiq Bhai kind of brothers in arms. So pretty sure we had to do this. लेकिन यार nostalgic क्यों यार? Again, for people out there, by at least I experience it. Sadiq Bhai, you can definitely second that. Whenever कुछ भी वर्ल्ड कप आता था, यूरोज आता था, ऑलवेज टीवी पे क्या आता था, भाई ये कंट्री ने क्या किया है, दिस इज हाउ दे काइंड ऑफ गॉट टू दिस लेवल, ये एक इंस्पिरेशनल मोमेंट है, एंड क्लासिक्स इज व्हाट वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट. सो व्हाट वी आर गोइंग टू डू हियर इज we are going to pick 3 classic matches of Brazil जो आपको याद आता है for World Cups. Again, we will try to keep it last 20 to 30 years में, because I know काफी audience may not be able to relate otherwise, because Brazil का तो भाई अनगिनत kind of matches होंगे नहीं तो. And of course, along with picking the best matches, pretty obvious हम finals नहीं include करेंगे, because यार 2 finals जो Brazil जीती है. So talking about that, Brazil have won it 5 times, and again twice runners up. तो इतने सारे options थे, तो इसलिए we are not going to talk about those final matches. लेकिन apart from that, we'll be definitely including Sadiq Bhai. Second thing, हम pick करेंगे एक squad. तो वहाँ पर हो सकता है कुछ debate हो, कुछ अच्छा conversation हो. So do stick till the end, everyone, because yeah, it's the best squad ever from Brazil World Cups in the recent 20-30 years, right? So Sadiq Bhai, getting into it in terms of classic matches in the last say 30 years, आपको जो याद है for Brazil in World Cup, so what is your first pick?
As you're not picking any of the finals, I think I will pick a game which not many people remember, but I remember that game because of my love for Ronaldo R9. That was the game where he scored his final World Cup goal. It was a second round 3-0 win against Ghana. The match itself was a very straightforward win for Brazil. But
2006, right? This is
2006 second round का match था, first knockout stage. And R9 scored a goal in the 5th minute. Adriano added one, and then Zero Boto added a third one. But that game is etched in my memory because that was Ronaldo's last goal scored in a World Cup.
Yeah.
And that was the 15-1. The game prior, he had scored a brace to break Gerd Muller's record of 14. In fact,
Correct.
He had tied Gerd Muller's record of 14 goals. And in this game, he broke the record. He scored his 15th goal in FIFA World Cup.
And if I remember right, yeah, Miroslav Klose broke Ronaldo's record. Is that correct?
Yeah, so Klose is on 16 now.
Correct. I think it has a lot of significance, especially that Ghana side. Again, mainly we work closely because for me personally speaking, यार उस समय एक time था when a lot of African players were based in Chelsea and vice versa, right? So somewhere down the line, the follow for African teams was much more. और मुझे याद है वो 2006 का टीम में स्टीफन अपाया, I think he was in his prime. Salim Antari was there. So people who remember who watched the Serie A know Salim Antari.
Asamoah
Who is?
Gyan was, I think
Yeah,
Gyan,
Asama Gyan, यार
Asamoah.
2006 और 2010 में he was like different level. लेकिन again talking about Ronaldo, यार आज के दिन में I know a lot of people are talking about Haaland being the closest thing to Ronaldo. What are your views?
Not many have seen that 96, 97 wala R9. That R9, he was not just Haaland. He was an amalgamation of Haaland and Mbappe because his
The
pace.
change of
Haaland does
pace,
not help it.
बाप रे.
Like how you see sometimes Mbappe just carry the ball from the half line and go straight up, but Mbappe falls down to tackles. R9 had the body strength and power not to fall down, rather shrug off defenders and shrug off tackles. He was a different beast altogether. I mean, I feel privileged and lucky to have watched him when he was not injured at all, completely without injuries.
But again, let's move on to the second game. This, I think, I'm assuming we are thinking the same. Sadiq Bhai, talking about Ronaldo, as in pretty sure Ronaldinho somewhere down the line has to be spoken about.
I think that was even more pleasurable for me because of the goalkeeper he beat on that day.
Oh my god, and including me, to be very honest, including me, because again David Seaman, we all know that, and again भाई सब लोग जो figure out नहीं किए, Ronaldinho, although a lot of us kind of did watch a little bit of it at PSG etc, but like he really was burst onto the scene after this game in particular. I believe that we are talking about 2002 quarterfinals when apparently Michael Owen was in his absolute prime. In fact, मैं तो बोलना चाहूँगा इंग्लैंड का golden generation वही 2002 से लेकर 2008 तक जो था, that was probably this was the time. But yeah, please go ahead सादिक भाई, मतलब आपने क्यों select किया ये वाला?
आपने भी वही सोचा because that game was like, पता है, many people were thinking that probably Brazil's run is going to end there, and in that game Ronaldo was kept a little bit quiet because Rio Ferdinand and Sol Campbell did a very good job in that game. But Ronaldinho, I think the game was tied 1-1 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, what I also remember बहुत ही strangely, I know हम best 11 भी pick करने वाले हैं, best squad. तो I think first half, जहाँ तक मुझे याद है सादिक भाई, I think as usual, Brazil almost were dominating. लेकिन I think midway through the first half एक गलती हुई लूसियो से, which is very strange. Lucio was one of the impeccable kind of defenders, not great when it comes to bowling. Lekin I think there was a mistake, and Michael Owen jumped onto it, and he got that goal. Again, Michael Owen was prime, but then I think the difference was Ronaldinho in itself. I remember clearly कि Ronaldinho का एक रन था through the midfield. Again, उस समय I think Ronaldinho used to play a little bit more centrally जब शुरू किया था, and he had a crazy run. And then all of a sudden क्या किए सब लोग, like you said, the defenders Rio Ferdinand and co, सब लोग blocked Ronaldinho, and what happened is Rivaldo, I remember, I think it was probably on the right wing. He was probably absolutely free, or he got a left footer. And
Rivaldo was playing right inside forward kind of.
Right inside forward, exactly. Rivaldo, as in he was underrated. As in आज की जनता जानती नहीं है. Please, 2002 World Cup, I would argue that was Rivaldo, right?
99 Ballon d'Or and 99 FIFA World Player of the Year. David Beckham was second that year in the Ballon d'Or voting behind Rivaldo.
Correct. Yeah, actually, David Beckham was it was probably the best year of David Beckham. Would you argue? I would argue that he.
99 was he was at his impeccable best, because by 2002 he had become more of a right-sided exclusive player.
Right-sided, more of a crosser, exactly.
But till say from 95 till 2000, 2001, many people don't realize he was as complete a midfielder as you could find in World Cup.
Absolutely, 100% agree. लेकिन वही मतलब I remember build-up जो ये game हम बात करें 2002 quarter finals का, I think the build-up was about David Beckham, Rio Ferdinand, and Michael Owen, and these were the three names which really popped up. But again, this was a great one, and of course Ronaldinho. बहुत ironically, let me tell you all, भाई सब लोग जो देख रहे हैं, Ronaldinho, the moment जो Sadiq Bhai already referred to, yes, that was the 1-1 thing, and then Ronaldinho got a free kick, and Sadiq Bhai, let's get it right. He meant that goal, right? Pretty much.
He initially did not try that. He was basically trying for a cross. If you watch, he changes his movement at the last minute when he takes
and his hand is looking down. He's almost looking down. I don't know what.
He's looking down. If you just see from the corner of his eye, he notices Seaman a little bit ahead of his goal, because David Seaman is also considering him to deliver a cross from that far out. He was 35 yards out.
It was more than that. I think it was a 40-yarder for sure. It was crazy.
And from the corner. So no one is going to expect that you're going to aim for a goal from there. But when he saw that David Seaman had come out, just at the last minute you could see that he had just seen his eye had just gone up a little bit, and he had changed his movement slightly.
Again, काफी लोग बोल रहे थे, that was a moment of that World Cup at that time. लेकिन in the few minutes it changed and Ronaldinho had a red card. I believe he had a direct stamp on Danny Mills, जहाँ तक मुझे याद है, right back.
Yeah, Danny
Or he got a
right
red
back.
card, and that's why it's important, right? Because they were down to 10 men, and still, Brazil, kept on, and it was a 2-1 victory in going to the semis.
One of the best games that Gilberto Silva and Kleberson had played. Because once they went down 10 men, Gilberto Silva and Kleberson completely shut the English attack down.
And again, Gilberto Silva, the following season, it was the basically invincible season, right? As in basically speaking.
उसके बाद ही invincible था. The second half of that game, the 65th minute onwards, it was a defense. Like people who say that Brazil cannot play defense, Lucio, Gilberto Silva, and Kleberson just shut everything down. And people don't remember how good Cafu and Roberto Carlos were defensively, because you had a young Ashley Cole. You had a young Ashley Cole bombing down on that flank, and Cafu basically neutralized him. Like it was like as if a teacher schooling his pupil. That kind of a performance.
Yeah, और वो सरप्राइजिंग भी था यार. Again, we are talking about Luis Felipe Scolari side, right? तो वो it was a pleasant surprise. लेकिन हाँ, it's good that you said that, क्योंकि मैं काफी बार बोल के थक जाता हूँ भाई. Cafu people think नहीं, wing back में he was one of the best, but bro, he played in multiple formations. He was a leader as well.
He never played a wing back.
नहीं, in between Brazil गई थी 3 the back system में 2006 का.
नहीं 2002 में भी था. मतलब एडमिल्सन जो था ना, एडमिल्सन was a CDM who used to drop in between.
Correct. Exactly.
लेकिन the wing की जो defensive responsibility, that was Roberto. Because what people don't realize about Roberto Carlos, I hear many people say that Roberto Carlos attackingly was good. Roberto Carlos's ball playing ability allowed him to defend, because he used to defend and he was so accurate with his long balls कि वो clear नहीं करता था, वो ball आगे play करता था अपने forwards के लिए. Even his clearances were that good, and they were so brutal in terms of his power कि the opposing player used to usually duck because he could not block it. Because if you came to block it, it would have been maybe an injury waiting to happen.
Talking about defense, यार मैं आप बहुत interesting point बोल दिए. थर्ड वाला मैं पिक करूंगा और आप बोलिए that whether you agree or not, ठीक है? Again, second वाला we both kind of had a common thought. This one basically, I think Brazil were very strangely. Almost a media was blaming Brazil कि भाई this is like, come on, this is like not really football, this is not Brazil football. A lot of games went 1-0, and we are talking about 94 World Cup. और मेरे memory में definitely है, because again that was my first World Cup जो मैंने देखा था. Again, I used to not understand tactics and all. मुझे इतना मालूम है कि भाई I wasn't happy that day because again मैं underdog को ही back कर रहा था. लेकिन talking about underdog, Netherlands team थी quarter finals. It was happening in US of course. लेकिन a Netherlands team with Bergkamp, was a wow factor जो burst on हुआ था, and I remember clearly that was basically the talk of the town in newspapers and all that. लेकिन I think it was a comeback game. जहाँ तक मुझे याद है, I think Brazil got a lead early on. Then I think they went 2-0 ahead. I think Romario and Bebeto, the great centre forward pairing was there, and then Bergkamp came. I think with a throw in he got a goal. Okay, and then all of a sudden they got a worldie from Winter, and this was a 2-2 moment for Netherlands. लेकिन फिर you guys broke my heart यार, in a sense. Whenever I look back into it, I think it was a left back of Brazil. क्या नाम था उनका? Branco, right? Yeah, that was as in one hell of a run up to that free kick. Talk about Roberto Carlos. Why that run up that he took to the free kick was, I don't know, cricket का 22 yards kind of run up था यार. भाई वो क्या था? But Roberto Carlos probably took a leaf out of Branco's book is what I'm guessing from that moment. Lekin I think that was Carlos Alberto Pereira's kind of victory really.
Another legend that people tend to forget. Another legend that people tend to forget, because Carlos Alberto Pereira, for people who don't know, is the manager who has led most number of teams into a World Cup. 5 different countries and 6 World Cups.
Wow. Oh really? मुझे लग रहा था goose hitting क्या यार, नहीं क्या मतलब?
नहीं, goose hitting was 5 countries, 5 different countries, 5 times.
Okay.
Carlos Alberto Pereira, 5 countries, 6 times. He went with Brazil twice.
That's brilliant actually. But again, I think pretty sure, Sadiq Bhai, that has to be one of the proud moments for you.
Actually, that's the tournament which got me interested into Brazil. Because I've said it many times. I started that tournament with the intention of following Argentina. Because all my uncles and everyone were asking me to read because they wanted me to tell them.
मुझे मालूम है क्यों. Again मैं थोड़ा सा negative बोलने वाला हूँ. मैं 1990 में आप लोगों को अर्जेंटीना नहीं किया, बाहर किया था, जाते मुझे नहीं.
नहीं, I don't remember the 1990 World Cup as evidently.
But I think that was a story that last World Cup I think Argentina, your rivals, ousted you, और अभी basically you're on the run. तो इसलिए ब्राजील वर वन ऑफ द फेवरेट्स, दैट वाज व्हाट द पेपर टॉक वाज.
उस वक्त फिर बैठ के उसके बारे में पढ़ा तो Argentina got knocked out. There was this Maradona scandal thing. I was like, yeah, no. Argentina is not the right team to follow.
अच्छा, और एक और चीज मालूम है आपको, ये मैच के मतलब वर्ल्ड कप के बारे में, तो मैंने नेदरलैंड्स वीडियो में भी बताया दैट वन पिवटल मोमेंट फॉर नेदरलैंड्स बिफोर दैट वर्ल्ड कप वाज अ रूड हुलिट दैट कैप्टन काइंड ऑफ वॉकड अवे. सो आई थिंक मतलब आई एम बोलना चाहूंगा if रूड हुलिट वाज देयर maybe things would have been different, just put it that way. Let's leave it to that.
Possibly.
Yeah, but again I think Frank de Boer was there, Ronald Koeman was there, Bergkamp like I said was there.
I mean leadership was there. उस डच टीम में लीडरशिप का कमी नहीं था. लीडरशिप तो was there in that Dutch team all throughout.
Yeah, unlike recent times, must be said. Like let's move on back to Brazil. Yeah, by the way, everyone watching, by Sadiq Bhai, let's be interesting to know what people watching think, because I know that there have been a lot of recent watchers. Like maybe they would give a shout out to Brazil beating Colombia recent times. Mein Colombia with a great kind of resurgence into 2014 at Brazil stadium. So that was something that maybe relate to. But हमने ये 3 pick किया Sadiq Bhai. Agreement with that? Fair enough.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's move on to the part where we select the best 11 or rather the best squad of Brazil ever in World Cup, जो हमने देखा है अपने आंखों से. That's what I would say. So Sadiq Bhai, I have a surprise for you. I know हम साथ में करने वाले थे, but this surprise is like I have a team picked. Again, ये जो वेबसाइट अलाउ करती है वही किया है. ये बेस्ट 11 है, मैं आपको दिखाऊंगा एंड देन विल स्टार्ट डूइंग इट विद बिफोर कमेंटिंग ऑन इट. तो मैं यहाँ पे दिखाने वाला हूँ आप लोगों को व्हाट टीम दिस इज बेसिकली द टीम दैट द वेबसाइट अलाउड मी टू सेलेक्ट. दिस इज ऑफ ऑल वर्ल्ड कप परफॉर्मेंसेस पुट टुगेदर. ठीक है, आप ये नहीं सेलेक्ट कर रहे हो बेस्ड ऑन हाउ दे वर एज अ प्लेयर. हाँ, इफ यू आर कंफ्यूज कि 2 प्लेयर्स के बीच में हम कंफ्यूज हो, देन यू कैन टेक दैट aspect. लेकिन mainly it's about how they did in World Cups and how influential they were in Brazil getting to the final stages of the World Cup. ठीक है, so this is what मैंने pick किया है. Again for people, by please comment your best Brazil 11 ever in World Cups, और 22 हम करने वाले हैं साथ में, तो वो भी कमेंट करना प्लीज. तो सादिक भाई, I have some formation created.
I think we can go a 4-2-4 because 4-2-4 usually is the classic Brazilian formation.
Okay, तो चलो 4-2-4 जाते हैं भाई. 4-2-2-2 और 4-2-4.
2 defensive, 2 wide.
You have 4 forwards. यहाँ पर I don't know, काफी discussion होने वाला है. Then
I think the easiest one are the 2 fullbacks. When you talk about World Cups and World Cup performances, it has
भाई everyone
Kafu as the starter and Roberto Carlos as the starter on the other side. Some may say Marcelo, but Marcelo's performances in the World Cups have not been up to the mark of what we expect.
So 2014 में you were not convinced by Marcelo's defending, is what I'm assuming.
Not at all. The 7-1 was evident.
And that is when Felipe Luis came in, right? 2018 में.
Exactly. Well, Marcelo always was found a bit wanting on the defensive end.
There are a lot of other options. मतलब एक Michel Bastoff was in 2010. There were other people who could play there. By the way, Edmilson and Z Roberto could play there as well.
अरे Leonardo could play. Leonardo played left back in '94 quite a bit.
हाँ, लेकिन Leonardo यार गाली देगा अपन दोनों को, अगर वीडियो देखेगा तो लेफ्ट बैक खिला दे.
Because actually he was the one who kept Roberto Carlos off the squad because he could play left mid and left back both.
यार लेकिन Leonardo, मतलब I associate him with like his trickeries in midfield, bro.
I think we can keep Marcelo as the backup to Roberto Carlos.
Backup ठीक है, चलो Marcelo. Everyone in the comment, भाई I hope that makes sense. Real Madrid fans तो खुश हो गया. Carlos is a no-brainer to be honest. Right back का मतलब I know that बहुत लोग बोलेंगे Dani Alves. I know that comments में आने वाले. लेकिन Dani Alves का World Cup में would you put him? Even Ramirez could play there. Just saying, Ramirez ने भी actually 2 World Cups में अच्छा किया है.
I think even from a performance point of view, you don't beat Cafu. As good as Dani Alves was with Barca, he was good with a Barcelona team that was loaded. Cafu was the best right back in the world in an AS Roma team, which once it had one decent striker to go with Totti, that was Batistuta. They won the Serie A.
I will put a name यहाँ पर. How about Maicon? मतलब if you have to select between.
You read my mind there. I was going to say Maicon because Maicon adds a defensive element. And the thing is, Dani Alves has missed a couple of World Cups by injury also. If I'm not mistaken.
हाँ, it's a probably bad luck. हम World Cup देख रहे हैं, इसीलिए maybe Maicon. Again, Maicon, you put a very good point about the headers में where for some reason Maicon has not been spoken about enough. बहुत ही important factor था. Plus, I think even he could take free kicks. I think he gets the edge, right? चलो, let's move on to a little bit forward positions अभी. क्या बोलते हो? तो attacking मतलब बहुत ही difficult है forward position. I don't know if you're reading my mind.
It is difficult. There are 2 both level striking candidates up there.
हाँ, मतलब एक तो मतलब डाल ही देते यार, मतलब या तो रोमारियो
and Ronaldo.
वो तो obvious है. ये दोनों अगेन बेबेटो यार, एक चीज में क्विकली याद आया भाई, पीपल वाचिंग भाई, देयर वाज अ गाय कॉल्ड जॉर्जिनो, आई डोंट मीन द चेल्सी जॉर्जिनो, देयर वाज अ जॉर्जिनो इन द ब्राजीलियन टीम इन द 90s, इन 1990 1994। इफ आई रिमेम्बर राइट, हम एक मैच का जो बात किए थे ना, वहां पर जॉर्जिनो ने असिस्ट दिया था, बहुत अच्छा असिस्ट, तो देखना सब लोग, आप लोग सब शाउट आउट है। बट हाँ, कमिंग बैक टू दिस वन, तो बेबेटो वेयर डज ही स्टैंड यार, मतलब
Roberto has to be there
बैकअप?
because he has scored was 6 or 7 goals in the World Cup. I think he scored 4 in '94 and he scored another 2 or 3 in the '98 World Cup as well. And many don't remember that '98. The thing that happened was everyone was excited to see Ronaldo and Romario's partnership, but Romario got injured right on the eve of the World Cup, and so Bebeto actually had to take over the starting duties, and he performed fairly well.
Bebeto was very good poacher as well, so I think you have to kind of buy that. Again, shout out bhai, मतलब Adriano was really superb, but in World Cups I would not associate,
He had one World Cup and that's all.
Interesting रहेगा for दूसरा forward backup. I'm just thinking नेमार को कहाँ fit करेंगे आप? I know I'm coming to the other goats as well. मतलब he's got 2 World Cups.
थोड़ा formation change कर ले.
I knew this is coming. I knew this is coming. चलो
formation 4-1-2-1-2 कर लेते हैं. 4-1-2-1-2 with a diamond midfield.
Yeah. चलो तो काका यार.
Will Kaka start because that's the
हाँ, वर्ल्ड कप में देखा जाए तो देखो 2002 में तो ही वाज अ वेरी यंग काका, 15 मिनट खेला पूरे टूर्नामेंट में, राइट? 2006 में उसका मेन इन्फ्लुएंस था, लेकिन अगेन नेदरलैंड्स ने उसकी गाड़ी रोक दी। इनफैक्ट उस मैच में काफी अच्छा किया था काका, आई रिमेंबर दैट क्वार्टर फाइनल्स में। सो यू कैन आर्ग्यू
he was already he was suffering from injuries, मतलब he was not the same.
So he was already, तो काका यू कैन आर्ग्यू दैट मे नॉट रियली स्टार्ट, लेकिन किसको स्टार्ट करोगे आप?
आई थिंक अगर काका स्टार्ट नहीं कर रहा तो फिर तो 4-2-4 ही सही है, बिकॉज़ देन तो रिवाल्डो एंड रोनाल्डिन्हो कैन स्टार्ट.
You are the selector. मैं तो यहाँ पर devil's advocate हूँ because you are a Brazil fan.
I think आप drop कर दो. Bring in another defensive midfielder. वो पहले वाला ही formation सही.
Yeah, because again मैं quick shout out देना चाहूँगा. Option है आपके पास सादिक भाई. Again, people in the chat, you can help me out in the comments. Kleberson kind of could play central midfield as well as attacking. Leonardo is an option.
I think striking option में you can put if you remember the '94 World Cup, Rai. He was more of a second striker. He was the Brazilian captain before he got injured and Dunga took over.
But didn't you guys not score goals in that era so much? It was all Bebeto and जहाँ तक मुझे याद है नहीं.
मतलब Rai was not a goal scorer. He was more मतलब वो कैम खेलता था यहाँ पे. हाँ मतलब यहाँ में कैम में क्या डालूं? कैम में मैं आपको डाल नहीं सकता. I think left side तो Ronaldinho has to take it.
ये मैं सोचा ये अभी तक आया क्यों नहीं? यहाँ पर रिवाल्डो डाल दो कि कोई और है मन में?
नहीं, यहाँ पे रिवाल्डो एंड बैकअप पे काका.
हाँ, बैकअप में काका. थैंक्स यार. बोल के नहीं, हम लाइक भाई आई नो वर्ल्ड कप में इतना इन्फ्लुएंस नहीं रहा.
उधर आई थिंक बैकअप पे नेमार.
हाँ, अगेन पीपल भाई नेमार हो सकता है पोस्ट दिस वर्ल्ड कप ही गेट्स इनटू द 11 डिपेंडिंग ऑन जो करने वाली है ब्राजील. आई नो सादिक भाई इज होपिंग,
और क्या पता विनिशियस ले ले वो जगह लेफ्ट साइड वाली.
वी आर फॉरगेटिंग विनिशियस ऑफ कोर्स. लेकिन हाँ, अगेन वो खेला नहीं अभी तक. कमिंग टू डीएम भाई, एक तो ऑब्वियसली डाल देता हूँ भाई, दूंगा कैप्टन रहा है भाई दो वर्ल्ड कप में जहाँ तक मुझे याद है, राइट? एंड ही इज वन एट 94.
जुनिनियो.
यू वांट जुनिनियो स्टार्टर और
जिल्बर्टो / जुनिनियो?
अच्छा, कौन सा वाला जुनिनियो बोल रहे हो आप? ये 90s वाला बोल रहे हैं कि 2000 वाला?
द फ्री किक वाला जुनिनियो परमेंट.
आई थिंक ये बहुत अच्छा सिलेक्शन है बिकॉज़ एज एन इंपैक्ट सब आई थिंक इट मेक्स सेंस टू गेट समथिंग विद समथिंग डिफरेंट.
वो खेलता था. अगर किसी को जुनिनियो का पोजीशन समझना है ना, आप जॉर्जिनियो को देख लो कैसे खेलता है.
हाँ, वही जॉर्जिनियो पिर्लो का मिक्स मैं बोलूंगा. ही वाज ऑलमोस्ट
द सेम पोजीशन.
दो और नाम बताना चाहूंगा क्विकली भाई, जी रोबर्टो एंड एमरसन. आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट चेल्सी वाला एमरसन पीपल. भाई एमरसन जो था यूवेंटस का, ही वाज लाइक वन ऑफ द मेनस्टेज एट दैट टाइम. ठीक है,
आई वाज कंफ्यूज्ड बिटवीन 3 पीपल हियर. एमरसन था, आपका एडमिल्सन था, क्लेबरसन
भी खेल सकता था यार,
एंड आपका मार्को सिल्वा फ्रॉम 94. आई थिंक
Roberto could play left wing, correct? So it helps.
And imagine you have Roberto, Juninho, Carlos, Ronaldinho. Free kick कौन लेगा?
आपस में कर लेंगे वो लोग, you know, turn by turn.
इस टीम में अभी तक जितने हमने बनाए सारे प्लेयर फ्री किक ले सकते हैं.
That is Brazil for you people, especially भाई 1990 से लेकर 2010 तक भाई वही ब्राजील था to be honest definition.
और अभी तो जब हम गोलकीपर डालेंगे वो पता चला गोलकीपर आके फ्री किक लेगा.
हाँ, वो भाई वो मतलब I must say भाई रोजेरियो सेनी is the most unluckiest goalkeeper ever. मैं बहुत बार बोलता हूँ about Italian goalkeepers, you know, अपने कुडिचिनी और पोलो, ठीक है, और अबियाटी भी, एग्जैक्टली, इतने सारे थे, लेकिन आई थिंक सेनी has to be one of the goat goalkeepers. Joe, he was actually a goal scorer for people who don't know. I did not rate Julio Cesar itna, to be honest. Maybe it's Inter Milan thing. I don't know what to say.
Julio Cesar was that season 2010. He had a blinder of a season. Other than that, he never had as great a season.
Champions League.
That treble winning season, that was his best season ever.
तो आपका selection कौन है based on World Cups again? You know who's again? I think we are missing one goat in Brazil goalkeepers. 90s Tafarel.
Tafarel. I think Tafarel as a shot stopper and ball player was. I mean, many people don't realize it. We all talk about Alisson. Do you know who's the goalkeeping coach of Liverpool? Tafarel.
अच्छा वो है क्या खुद? Okay, so Tafarel तो is a shoe in, right? Do you start Tafarel?
Claudia Tafarel and Dida. I'm actually confused between the two.
I think Alisson में थोड़ा unfair नहीं मतलब again आपने अगर देखा मैंने Netherlands का वीडियो भाई what I've done is like people who are still playing right थोड़ा benefit out दिया because they are still having a potential to go to the next level. I thought Alisson brings different. Again, if you're saying Tafarel already had that, then I can understand why Dida. मैं खुद AC Milan के लिए भाई Dida के लिए बहुत मैं follow किया हूँ. Honestly, the guy had a mistake in him. He was awesome, but he had a mistake in him more often than Alisson.
Backup, I would go for Julio Cesar.
Okay, interesting. Center backs में भाई एक तो मैंने नाम already ले लिया है. Lucio, right? Exactly.
That entire World Cup, Lucio didn't have a single card.
Wow, really?
2006 में didn't have a single card. 2002 में had one card.
Who is his partner? लेकिन Lucio, I think has he played with Thiago Silva?
Lucio, yes. 2010
2010
World Cup में नहीं खेला है, लेकिन other than the World Cup खेला है उसको.
हाँ, generally I remember around that era, वही Champions League of Lucio and that time Thiago Silva was also.
2010, because 2010 Thiago Silva was like the backup and Lucio and Juan used to be the partnership.
Juan. Bayer Leverkusen gave one, and of course you had Edmilson as the choice, Roca Jr. as the choice. David Luiz. Aldair
was a rock. I mean, he won the 94 World Cup. He went to the 98 final. 2002 में Aldair was not there. Junior Baiano was there, his partner.
लेकिन आपका पिक कौन होगा? मतलब Thiago Silva versus Aldair.
Aldair वो बोलते ना आपके childhood favorites में से एक होता है like.
हाँ, got it. नहीं आया.
Aldair was kind of I would say a poor man's Rudiger. वो वैसा. अच्छा. कर लेगा कुछ भी कर लेगा like you didn't mess with him. That was the kind of center back. But I think Thiago Silva is a shoe-in.
Thiago Silva starts
even from a World Cup point of view, because if you remember 7-1 Thiago Silva was suspended and you all saw what happened. Yes,
correct. इसलिए हम David Luiz को नहीं डाले for people PSG and Chelsea fans, to some extent Arsenal fans.
I think the second center back backup behind Lucio has to be Junior Baiano. Very underrated.
So I think we are ready. Sadiq Bhai. Finally, I know that this has been a long conversation, but definitely worth it. Like काफी सारे memories have been refreshed. Again, that excitement to the World Cup always adds. यार जब हम बात करते हैं, all the good moments of that particular team, and of course certain moments जो आप even though bad you kind of remember, and of course this is a great team. Captain or coach Sadiq Bhai and everyone in the comments बोल दीजिए. Captain
दूंगा to captain, and the coach I will not pick Carlos Alberto Pereira. Instead, I will pick the luckiest mascot for Brazil, the only man to have won 4 World Cups as part of a World Cup organization, the legendary Mario Zagallo.
Yeah, Mario Zagallo again 98 में मतलब to be very honest about it, I thought मतलब मैं खुद सोचा था it was between Netherlands and Brazil.
Zagallo, fun fact, was the first person ever to win the World Cup as a player and as a coach. He was part of the legendary Brazilian front four of Bava, Pele, Garrincha and Zagallo in the 58 World Cup, followed by the same front four in the 62 World Cup. Then in 1970, when Pele was playing his final World Cup at the age of 29, he was the coach of that team.
Wow.
And then
that's full circle.
In 94, when Carlos Alberto Pereira was leading the Brazilian team, he was the assistant manager. That's when he won his.
Okay.
That's when he won his 4th World Cup.
Wow. भाई ये मुझे भी नहीं मालूम था. Thanks for sharing.
And he's been somehow part of all 5 World Cup wins of Brazil, because he was a special advisor to the Brazilian team, which is not an official post. That's why it's not counted as a 5th World Cup. But 2002 team का वो एक special advisor था.
Wow. भाई ये है आज का ट्रिविया, एब्सोल्युटली ग्रेट ट्रिविया है। सादिक भाई एंड ट्रिविया नहीं होता तो मजा नहीं यार। ऑफ कोर्स ऑन ऑलमाइटी ब्लूज एफसी ऑफ कोर्स, एंड ऑफ कोर्स हु एम आई भी आना है। सादिक भाई ऑलरेडी प्रैक्टिसिंग वेल फॉर दैट, आई नो दैट। लेकिन सादिक भाई ब्रिलियंट टू हैव यू एज ऑलवेज यार। मतलब अगेन विश यू ऑल द बेस्ट एज अ ब्राजील फैन, अगेन कमिंग फ्रॉम द नेदरलैंड्स फैन, झूठा है ये जो विश कर रहा हूं मैं, यू नो इट वेरी वेल बिकॉज़ ऑफ द हिस्ट्री।
एक बार फिर हो जाए सेमीफाइनल अपना।
But again, thanks a lot, Sadiq bhai. A lot of it that हमने discuss किया है. Obviously, you're always welcome. We'll be discussing other teams as well for people wondering why. So yes, we'll be discussing the squads as well. More closer to the tournament. I know it's just around the corner. Again, do not forget to hit that like button. Of course, do subscribe if you are new to the channel.